am begging people to not repeat what we did with Gabby Petito. I am begging people to not repeat what we did with Amber Heard. Why am I bringing up those two in relation to this couple? It's because of the power and control dynamics, one, and two, also because remember in the Gabby Petito case, Gabby was the one who was treated like the problem. Gabby was the one that the police recognized in the fight situation that she was the problem and that her boyfriend, whatever his name is, needed to be removed. It's the same thing that is happening here. Why am I bringing up Amber Heard and Johnny Depp? Why am I saying that's relevant at all? Because Amber Heard was literally the perfect victim. People want to think of the perfect victim as somebody who is purely innocent, has done no wrong, and is obvious that she was the victim. That's not the case. That is not the way that abusive, manipulative people view the people that they target as victims. They see the perfect victim as somebody who is messy, somebody who is chaotic, somebody who is reactive, somebody who it's easy to set up to make them look like the problem so that they are never perceived as the problem. When the cops arrived at the scene for Gabby Petito and Brian, or whatever his name is, they identified Gabby as the problem because she was crying, she was upset, she was the one who seemed hysterical, while Brian was calm, collective, he was responsive, though he was, in retrospect, nervous. And I want to remind people of one of the most bone-chilling moments of watching the documentary about Ted Bundy's girlfriend and her account of what life was like towards the end of her relationship with Ted Bundy. And that is the moment that she said that the more upset she got, the more cold and controlling and calculated he got. And that's when the smirk would come out. And it was a bone-chilling moment for me because I knew deep in my bones exactly what she was talking about. So what has happened already with the 2023 incident with Taylor and Dakota? Taylor was the one who was perceived as the violent one and the one who got the felony charge. Dakota has consistently engaged in this relationship in a way that has not only convinced Taylor that she is the problem to the point that she is the one that is doing the work, that is going to therapy and doing all of the things, but Dakota has also made it appear to the public that she is the problem. One of the saddest statements that I learned to be true when I was coming out of my abusive relationship is that when there is one unsafe person, everyone around them becomes unsafe. And that's where the reactive abuse comes into play. And what people are not realizing about the video from 2023 is that leading up to that moment, Dakota had thrown Taylor. What I'm so thankful for is the amount of survivors who are coming forward, at least giving perspective for what they see with Taylor's behavior, her reactions, and the things that we see in that video. Taylor is perfectly defining. She is perfectly living up to the image of a perfect victim, much the same way Amber Heard was a perfect depiction of the perfect victim. And that's because when you can appear crazy, when you can appear violent, when you can appear to be the aggressor because you are responding to the behavior, the power and control dynamics that your controlling abusive person is exacting against you, it makes it very easy for law enforcement, the public, and anyone who was not there at the beginning to believe that the victim is the person who is in the wrong. The most telling pattern coming out of this couple right now is that all of this is happening at moments when Dakota is losing his power and control over Taylor. There isn't anything happening other than Taylor making choices, taking actions to leave the relationship with Dakota. And now all of this is coming back, even with the night that happened right before the last day of filming for The Bachelor. That was at Dakota's request. What's so telling about the pattern of behavior right now is that Dakota is the one who made the request to come see Taylor that last night before the last day of filming of The Bachelor. He begged production to fly him out to see her under the premise that it could possibly be the last time that he gets to see her. And then whatever happened behind closed doors, and we don't know what happened that night. And then conveniently, this video footage comes out from 2023. And if there's anything that a controlling, coercive person loves to do, they love to destroy the chances of their former partner. We've seen Dakota say, we've seen the footage, we've heard that Dakota wants nothing to do with leaving Taylor. He wants her. He wants to be in the relationship. He doesn't want to abandon it. But Taylor is the one who has been making choices, taking action towards moving on, towards finding a new relationship. And that's what's setting him off. Macy and others in the cast have repeated that Dakota's doing this to destroy her opportunities. Remember the other dynamics of fear, obligation, and guilt? Those are the behaviors. Those are the manipulations of a person who wants power and control over another person. They will instigate fear. They will instigate obligation. They will instigate guilt in the person that they're targeting to make them feel fearful of, obligated to the relationship, guilty for either abandoning them or not being the mother or not being the perfect family for the child that they have together. When we were expressing our disappointment at Taylor having become pregnant by Dakota, it wasn't because we just didn't like him. We, as the people who have been in these abusive relationships, we understood that that was going to be another tool, another manipulation to keep himself in her life. In this way, because it's a child, keep him in her life for the next 18, 20, 25 years, possibly the rest of their lives. Taylor is the one that's been making choices, trying to take steps and actions to leave the relationship, and Dakota is the one who is pulling her back in, trying to destroy any of her opportunities to do so. If Dakota truly had her best interest at heart, he would have never engaged in the other relationships that he's been engaged in over these past seasons. He would be looking for a healthy relationship that has no impact on Taylor whatsoever. He would be doing whatever he can to establish boundaries that create a healthy environment for both of them to thrive in. Instead, he's pursued relationships that absolutely make Taylor reactive. He loves it. And remember, Dakota came into this relationship with everything to gain by being with Taylor, and Taylor had nothing to lose by not being with him. In fact, she had every reason to gain simply from ending this relationship. I know that the behavior that we've seen from Taylor isn't healthy, but there's a reason why she is so reactive, and it's not that she would be that person if Dakota weren't present. Everything about this situation is so heartbreaking and sad, and I beg of people to understand power dynamics and coercive control.